Patrick Harris with you, alongside the big man, Will Ortner.
What's
sitting
up?
in on Primetime today. Hello, my friend.
How you doing? Happy holidays.
Same to you, same to you. I was pleasantly surprised when Jordan Schultz peeked his head around the corner.
Hey, guys.
I was like, I thought he was just showing up to, like, grab something or working on something, and it was a pleasant surprise to find out that it was all three of us today, and not just you and me.
Yeah, hey, you know what? The more the merrier on this time.
Yeah.
You know, and you need a bunch of different opinions. I love it. I love getting to see everybody after the holidays. You get a little, it's not quite like when you're a kid, you know, it's what'd you get for Christmas or what'd you get for Hanukkah, you know, whatever. Like that's the extent. It's more like, how's it going? How was the time with the family? Did you get to spend it the way you wanted to? How's that stuff going?
And for example, I've been listening to Dusty Hara on this station for about 15, 20 years, and boy, that guy sucks. So I'm just out. Thanks for not being in, dude. I hope you're having a wonderful holiday. I kid. I love the Iceman.
I'm going to say, I think he's down in Arizona.
Ooh.
What's he doing in Arizona? Is he at the Fiesta
Ducks.
Bowl?
Yeah.
Wow.
He's throwing a fiesta, dude.
Wow.
Of course he is.
I wonder what that's like. So I've been talking. So all of my in-laws, so my wife and our kids and our family, my in-laws, she has a split household. Both of my in-laws there, and my parents, we all live in Vancouver.
Okay.
So we don't have to travel. You know, every once in a while, like an uncle or something like that might come into town. But the nuclear family,
Right.
She's got two brothers. One lives here, one doesn't. So we miss out that. I'm the same way. My brother and sister live here, but I got one that lives in Seattle. But for the most part, nuclear is here. But I always think to myself, it's like a blessing and a curse. I wish I got to travel for the holidays just because traveling's great, like going somewhere.
Right.
But traveling during the holidays sucks big time.
Dude, it's horrible.
So I wonder if you're Dusty, if you're the Iceman, and you have Christmas with the kids. You know, he's got a wonderful family. His wife and his kids are fantastic. Love them. And if you do a little Christmas with the family, then it's like, all right, babe, I got to go. I'm going to go after Christmas to Arizona, and then I'll come back after New Year's. I feel like he might be in that perfect gap.
He might have hit it, because I'll tell you what, right now, I had to go pick up my parents from PDX. They were returning from California. Horrible.
Yeah.
Horrible. I was supposed to pick them up at 9:30. I didn't get them in my car until midnight.
Whoa.
Midnight.
Were you just driving around the whole time, or did they tell you it was delayed?
No. Well, so I got a text that it was delayed. Originally, the delay was going to be 5 minutes, right? That's, hey, 5-minute delay, whatever. No big deal. That turns into, I don't know. Instead of them getting in at 9:30, they don't get in till 10. And I had gone and I'd gotten their Christmas gifts, so I was already like kind of planning to be there at 9:30, so I'm super early. I'll go park at Cascade Station. That's a great spot. I'll listen to a podcast. We'll be cool.
Sure.
So I go and I do that, and then I get a text at 10, hey, we landed. Next text I get, they lost our golf bag with all of our golf clubs. So now my parents are trying to figure out where the golf clubs are. Did they make it on the
Serious
flight?
first world problems here, Ortner.
100%.
I didn't know you inherited a boatload of money.
Well, you know, hey, it's that teacher pension. And so then I'm sitting there in Cascade Station, and what was supposed to be now a 30-minute, now it's an hour. All of a sudden, I've got the Cascade Station rent-a-cops. They're all over my ass, dude.
Like looking like, whoa, yo, dude, you've been here for a while.
Multiple cars pulled up, Patrick.
Oh, wow.
Multiple cars.
You got swatted?
And I got this. Sir, who is in the Toyota vehicle, please vacate the premises. You are trespassing right now.
Tell me-
You have 3 minutes to leave, or we will call the police. Please leave the premises. You are not wanted here.
Tell me you got like a beater car. You got a beater car?
I was driving my mom's. It's a nice Toyota.
wow. They
I
just
think
saw
it's a
some-
RAV4.
They just saw some dude sitting in the parking lot and was like, this guy's been here too long.
They're like, who is this dude? Who's sitting outside of the T-Mobile? Who's going to go in and rob the T-Mobile? Apparently, well, and I get
Big
it.
bearded dude.
Right, and I also get it. Like, I'm bald and I'm big and I look like I might be engaging in criminal activity
You
from
didn't
time
pull
to
the,
time.
do you not know who I am?
That's not working for me. And if I've tried to pull that card,
D-level
do you know
celebrity here.
who I'm saying I am? I'm immediately saying I'm Jason Sukan.
Without a doubt.
I am
Without
not
a doubt.
claiming to be Will Ortner. That's not going over well for me. So then I have to go over to the Sheraton. I just learned, Luke told me this morning that there is like a spot where you can drive.
Yeah, the
and
cell phone lot.
no idea. I'm parked
dude.
at the Sheraton in like 15-minute parking, and they're coming out to check on me before I finally get a call like, hey, you can come get us. That's at like 11:30. It took me 30 minutes to get from that Sheraton to pick them up from Southwest, which is in the middle of the arrival spot.
Wow.
People were just parking and waiting. The amount of people that I let know that I thought they were number one who were just parking and waiting for their friend to get picked up. The rules of society are if your friend is not there, you do a lap. You don't get to just sit there and park.
No, not at all. There's signs everywhere. They'll tell you to get the hell out of
There's
here.
a whole cell phone waiting area for this.
Right. No one was doing that. They're just parking. Then, I'm trying to get people to move so I can get in. And then now I'm a jerk because I'm in the third lane, which is supposed to be a passing lane, trying to get my parents in the car so that I can go home. I'll tell you what, dude, don't go to the airport right now. It is a nightmare.
Well, good luck to the Iceman. I hope he's doing all right. But speaking of that, Ducks Liberty in the Fiesta Bowl on January 1. You'll get all wall-to-wall coverage right here on Today the Fan, home of the Ducks, as we always do. Jason Sukanik will be in tomorrow. So me and the big guy will preview college football playoff. We'll preview the Fiesta Bowl. We'll kind of get into all that. But today, guys, we get to mess around. And I'm here for it.
It's the best time of the year.
A little post-holiday fun.
Post-holiday fun.
I'm trying to think of which is worse, considering holiday trips, because I've had to stay in a crappy bed that I could not fit in for a week. I think we've all been there, or just the travel itself, because that story is just reminding me of all kinds of horrors of my past in airports around Christmas. Thank you.
It was very fun to walk in today. Boss lady said hello to me, and it's like, yeah, I still work here. And she was like, hi. And you're like, hi, nice. I am acknowledged. Jordan Schultz, my fantastic producer on the Hot Corner every Wednesday from 7 to 9. Did you get a cool Christmas gift?
I got spoiled this year. I'm not really sure.
No, I mean from the station.
Oh, I did. Yeah.
You did, yeah.
Oh, you're talking about from Odyssey or from Today's the Fan. I got a very cool Christmas gift.
Will Order, did you get a cool Christmas gift?
I knew exactly where this was going.
Now I know where this is going.
Yes, I did. I got a very cool Christmas gift. Not the ham. I was expecting the free ham that one Jason Sukanik brags about every year. No free ham, but I think the speaker is much better.
I hope you guys have a ton of fun with those speakers. Like when you're listening to them, you just let your boy Patrick know, like, it sounds really great. It's Sony, like life loud, like live life loud, like whatever that says. I said live because I'm an idiot. I hope you guys have a great time with that.
I'm going to take a selfie. When I'm using it for the first time, I'm going to take a selfie with it in the background and send it right to you.
Yeah, let's not forget, guys, that outside of, let's see, the Boys in the Morning. I mean, it's actually a decent amount of people. The Boys in the Morning and Swag. Dusty, Isaac, and Sook. I'm the longest tenured next.
Are you really?
Dude, I've been here for almost 10 years.
It's true.
Look at you. Congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I think I've got 3 Christmas gifts in almost those 10 years.
I'm not going to lie.
Better than zero?
I was surprised that we had Christmas gifts.
Wow.
Because they don't do that. Like, my parents are teachers. You don't get a Christmas gift for teaching unless, like, some kid's like, here's some Starbucks or, whatever.
Why are you giving kids Starbucks, dude?
No, the kid gives you Starbucks.
Oh, okay.
Classic.
Yeah, we do that for our kids' teachers.
Classic. Yeah.
Or we give them alcohol because, let's be real here.
Hey, that's happened on occasion for my parents. I get that.
Shout out Chinook Elementary. Like, hopefully we took care of you. If we didn't, call my wife. I didn't have anything to say about it.
There you go. Yeah. So I wasn't expecting this. I was pleasantly surprised. And now I feel kind of bad about it. I feel like I'm showing off my gift in front of you, and I don't feel like that's the nicest thing to do.
Well, man, dude, and the best I can say to you is it's not your fault.
That's true. It is not my fault.
I am constantly reminded that nobody cares about baseball. Nobody knows I'm here. I'm just a little dude.
I don't think that this was a purpose pitch. Like, we're not going to give the baseball show a speaker.
But Joe gets one because he's a sales guy, and Jordan gets one because he fills in a lot. But Patrick will be like, he's probably good.
How funny would that be?
Bringing in that 1 day a week salary.
How funny would that be if they're in the meeting, the naughty or nice list meeting, and they're like, I don't think we bring in enough money with baseball, so we're not going to be able to give him the speaker. But we'll give the speaker to the kid that shows up when we call him every once in a while.
Patrick, you've been very naughty this year. Nobody cares, yet somehow your key fob still works. But I will. My Christmas present every year is my fantastic boss, Jeff Sacramento, gives me full autonomy for that stupid baseball show that nobody watches or listens to. It's great.
I listen to it. Jordan listens to it.
Yeah, when you guys are in the studio, I appreciate it. Your headphones work. Mic check, mic check.
I was like, I can guarantee that he listens to it.
Yeah, that's true. I kind of have to for my job. That's fair. Or I could just kind of, F off the entire time, like look at things online I'm not supposed to.
Well,
Maybe you should check my browsing history, Odyssey.
I don't know if I want to check your browsing history.
I don't want to check anyone's browsing
You can
history.
totally check mine. There's a lot of YouTube on there. There's a lot of ESPN. The fan text line.
Yeah, there's nothing on mine that's nefarious. I'm just going to be honest about that. Well, mine here at work. But you know what else?
At home, all bets are off.
Hey, man.
You are a single man that lives alone.
I am a single 26-year-old man. Stuff happens. Sometimes you got to get to the bottom of things.
Now, have you ever walked in on a roommate like with their screen still open and it had, up on the screen? Because I have, that has happened to me a couple of times where I either came over to a dude's house, like we're gonna go do something, go to the bar, go watch a game or whatever, or my roommate just like we're grabbing food or we're gonna go like I don't know, drink or go to whatever party in college. And 2 times I remember their computer screens both left open with good old good
old adult entertainment. Did you get a chance to judge what they're into?
I think I remember
because that would change your life forever. Like, okay, you like stepmom, stepsister, ebony, like whatever you're into. But if it's like some real kinky, weird stuff, does that change your opinion?
That's why I don't want to know, dude.
Yeah.
You don't want to know. You don't want to know what your buddy's doing. So you know what I do? I engage in I'm going to be really loud so everyone knows I'm coming.
Yeah.
I am boom, 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 boom with my feet. Loud coughing, I knock on every door.
Somebody's showing up.
Every door I go in.
If I hear anybody come near a bathroom door, I always clear my throat.
Yep.
Always.
Like, always. Here. Somebody is here.
Because I saw this great thing. Like, I still don't know what to say when somebody knocks on the door and you're in the bathroom.
Dude, I hate that.
Are you supposed to say, come in?
That's why I don't go to the bathroom. I try not to go to the bathroom at like family gatherings at someone's house or like a friend gathering at someone's house.
Yeah.
I don't go. I try to avoid the bathroom in case someone forgot to lock the door.
Right.
Or in case someone walks in on me. Like, I don't want that to happen.
Yeah, you don't need to see Aunt Bernice like figuring out how to get off the pot.
No. And there's no way to ruin a friendship quicker than, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to.
Right.
You don't want to see him dropping number 2. It's rough go.
Although it is a important part of life. Oakley Dokley. Well, we got a show for you today. We are off at 5:30 tonight as we have Oregon Ducks basketball. That's right, Tenny the Fan, home of the Oregon Ducks football and basketball. Plus, I think we throw a little baseball on 910.
We
right?
do.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So make sure to stick around for that. Anybody know who Oregon's playing tonight?
The USC Trojan.
We're in conference play.
Right, because Bronny's in town. A bunch of people were talking about heading over to go check that out.
All right, so conference play, Pac-12 action is in. I actually think this will be a nice year for Pac-12 basketball. Side note, if you don't know me, I am a decent college basketball fan. I'm excited to see how the top shakes out this year getting into conference play. So that'll be there for you tonight. There's also the Vancouver Ford text line, 503-864-6326. That's 503-864-6FAN. All texts to the fans are via the Vancouver Ford text line. Your dollar goes further at Vancouver Ford. They treat you right before, during, and after the sale. Visit VancouverFord.com. Guilty as charged. Have a 2022 Bronco Sport in the parking lot that I picked up from Vancouver Ford. They are fantastic. Monty and the crew over there will take care of you. We got a lot to get to. We're going to be a football heavy show today, but I will sneak in a little bit of baseball because that's what we do around here. So stick around. Don't go anywhere. This is Primetime with Patrick Harris and Will Ortner, 1080 The Fan.
Yeah. The home of dirt and sports.
.319 here, Portland Sports Leader. Don't you forget it. We are live from the shadows of the historic Fremont Bridge. Like I said, we're off at 5:30 as you'll get Ducks coverage against USC and Bronny James. So make sure to stick around and tune in to that. Plus, on New Year's Day, we'll have the Fiesta Bowl featuring the Oregon Ducks and Liberty. Right now, you can catch us on the CW from 3 to 4. I know lots of times my family tunes in, so hi, love you guys. And also youtube.com/1080am, The Fan. We're on TV.
Yeah, it is really funny. I had a friend call me and goes, "Dude, I'm watching you on TV right now."
I know. Did you get done with Dr. Phil episodes and I just happened to show up on your television?
He was at the dentist and the dentist had CW on.
Love it.
It was last week. He calls me and he goes, "Dude, did you know you're on TV?" You're like, "Yeah, dude, I'm aware. I'm on TV. Thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in." He goes, "I can't hear a word you guys are saying, but this is sick."
My grandmother is 85, something like that, and I tuned into her, or I called her on right before Christmas to say hi and Merry Christmas, and she was like, "I see you on TV," and I was like, "Geez, my grandma lives in Spokane."
Hey. That's awesome. I didn't know that Spokane got the CW all the way down here.
I didn't know. I mean, is the CW a national channel? I think it's a national channel.
Yeah, it is.
Future home of the Pac-2, baby.
But there's different, CW. It's like tuning into, CBS. There's a different CBS
local.
from here.
Okay.
Different CBS there. So
you
that's
tell me
why I was
across
surprised.
the nation on CW from 3 to 4 right now, they're listening to us idiots?
I don't think so.
Probably
you know what?
not.
I wish, but
Are we CW North? CW Northwest?
I think it's CW Portland. Because that's what they had us say at the state championship games. They had us say CW Portland CW.
All I know is the CW means half of it, the C is the CBS and the W is the Warner Brothers, which still makes no sense to me, but that's how I know it's a national company. So.
Well, as someone who has worked with them before, I love them and I love the CW and I think they're great. They're fantastic.
I think they're fantastic as well. All right, let's get into the poll question today. The AAA Heating and Cooling poll question brought to you by AAA Heating and Cooling, family business helping families for over 50 years. Visit aaaIAQ.com. Turn it over to our fantastic producer, Mr. Jordan Schultz. Schultzy, what do we got for the poll question today?
Pretty simple one. I like the way that you guys were going this year. You guys going to watch bowl games with all of the transfers this year? Heck yes, or no way. Posting it right now on X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it. So go vote, and as Isaac says, vote hard.
Vote hard, yeah, that's definitely, and it's an interesting thing, I think to the average college football fan, I look right here, and we've got NC State and Kansas State on in the Pop-Tarts Bowl. Great name, by the way. Will showed me the trophy, excellent trophy.
It's fantastic.
Go check it out if you haven't seen it already. I don't know much about these two teams, so if they have opt-outs, it doesn't bother me. So I'm kind of looking at it cool. Let's see what these guys got to do. K-State won the Big 12 last year. Mm-hmm. Let's kind of
quality program.
Yeah, let's see how that program's moving up and stuff like that. And tonight is Arizona, Oklahoma, which I'm very excited about because Arizona was a team as a Pac-12 kid that when Wazoo, my alum, played Arizona, I was like, finally we can break this losing streak. We got Arizona. Jaden DeLora, we recruited you. You used to play for us. We got this. And then DeLora didn't start a quarterback. I was like, wait a sec. And then we got absolutely housed.
Well, they found their QB in Fifta.
Yep.
I say his name wrong. I think it's Fafita. I keep calling him Fifta. But
Fifta.
I think it's Fafita.
I like Fifta.
Fifta. He's fantastic.
let's come over to my house. We'll slug down a bottle of Fifta and we'll just finish this bad boy out.
know a Fifta.
He is fantastic. But when it comes to that, I feel like it has a double-edged sword with the opt-outs because there are some games where, look, I'm a football junkie. I'm going to tune in anyway.
Sure.
But I almost feel like the reason that we tune into some of these games like the Pop-Tart Bowl isn't necessarily because of who's playing or the schools if you're not interested in that. It's almost the sideshow attraction, right?
Sure.
Everyone's talking about the Duke's Mayo Bowl.
Right.
All over Instagram, all over Twitter, all over, I'm sure TikTok, I'm not on it, but you have all these, videos of social media where they're having guys drink mayonnaise or they're putting mayonnaise on different food items that you wouldn't normally do. They're putting it in your coffee. And then, hey, at the end of the game, the winning coach is going to get doused in mayonnaise. And it's like, well, I want to see that. I want to check that out. And so as you're scrolling through the games, it's like, oh, I'm going to tune into that game because I've heard a bunch of stuff about it. It's kind of the novelty of it. I'm not tuning into that bowl game necessarily for the players and the action, but I'm tuning in because, oh, hey, I heard about that on social media. I might as well check it out.
I wonder if it's a little akin to watching Christmas movies all December. Like I got small kids, so we watch a lot of Christmas movies, and if I'm honest with you, some of them I could really care less about. And if I don't see any of them, I'm going to be okay.
Yeah.
Patrick's just going to keep rolling around. But it's also kind of what you do.
Yeah, it's the season.
And so the Bulls kick on, you're kind of like, well, it's what we do.
Right. And
Most
people have time off right now, so you have really nothing to do, and most people are sitting on their couch right now because you did your holiday shopping.
Right.
This is the true vacation. Like in school, you got 2 weeks off. The week before Christmas was not a vacation week for me. That was, you're going shopping for stuff. You're going, in my family, we have a lot of birthdays. So you're going to birthdays, stuff like that. This week was like, okay, you kind of rest, relax. You get your vacation from your vacation. So I think that helps. But like the way I was thinking about it is the Holiday Bowl. I tuned into that because that's USC. That's a Pac-12 school. I want to see how they're doing.
And I felt being on Fox instead of everything being on ESPN that I was like, okay, so Fox grabbed this. Obviously, USC is a big brand. I'm with you. I turned it on last night too.
And I wanted to check that out. But I definitely had more interest. The irony is I had more interest in the Mayo Bowl, in, will Lincoln Riley get eggnogged later? But it was because of these extracurricular things for the Mayo Bowl as opposed to the USC game. That's strictly because they're Pac-12. If I was not a Pac-12 fan, I don't know if I tune into that game.
Yeah.
And so I think you're seeing a lot of bowl games like the Pop-Tart Bowl with the cool trophy where you've got a literal toaster in the trophy and out comes the Pop-Tarts. I think that's how a lot of bowl games are now starting to grab people's attention because they know they have to do something else because if you're a top player, you're not going to play in a bowl game that isn't a playoff game because it doesn't matter. It can only hurt your career, unless, of course, you're Bo Nix.
So then let me ask you, Will, does games, and I want to get into Florida State here in a moment, do games like the Orange Bowl of Georgia, Florida State, where it's not a college football playoff, Oregon Liberties, let's pretend Bo's sitting out, okay, which he's not, like baller, dude, thanks for playing. If he's sitting out, you have to lose some form of excitement for that game. Or does it still stay up because Florida State, Georgia are big brands, Oregon's the local brand up against Liberty, the kids that nobody gives credit to.
Right.
But once you see those opt-outs, does that tarnish it too much?
I don't think it tarnishes it, but it definitely deflates my interest in a game. Like a perfect example of that, especially for a local interest, is Oregon State, Notre Dame. They're playing in the Sun Bowl. If everyone was playing in this game for Oregon State and for Notre Dame, that's a very interesting game. You have two top 25 teams. They play a similar style. You have two pretty decent, upper tier quarterbacks in DJU and Hartman over at Notre Dame.
Right.
You got great running backs between Martinez and Estime. You got good defenses. I would like to see what Oregon State would do against a Notre Dame.
Full power versus full power.
Right, because if you look at it full power, I feel like Notre Dame might be a tier above, but this is a perfect spot for if Oregon State wins this game and they're full strength, you can go, well, maybe Oregon State is in that next tier. They're starting to move forward. But because this game doesn't matter, and at Oregon State, your coach left, it's a mass exodus for Oregon State players. So they're nowhere near full strength. They might not even be at half strength. You look at Notre Dame, their two top players offensively in Hartman and Estime are like, dude, we're getting ready for the NFL draft. We're getting ready for the combine. We're out of here. And that's not to mention multiple other players that have decided, I'm going to go into the draft or I'm going to go into the transfer portal and have left for Notre Dame. So you're now looking at a team that might be 75% and another team that's maybe at 50%, well, that definitely kills my intrigue and my interest in the game. I'm still going to watch it because it's Oregon State, Notre Dame, and Oregon State's a local team.
Sure.
But if it was Notre Dame versus North Carolina, I might not be as interested. In fact, I'm definitely not as interested. And if I have something better to do, I might not tune into that game, and I'm a football junkie.
Right.
So to me, I don't blame the kids for doing these things, but it definitely harshes the vibes, and it almost kind of feels like an NBA season. NBA, I don't care about basketball until Christmas Day.
Right. And I just showed up to see the Clippers because my favorite player is Kawhi Leonard, and he's not on the court.
Right. And so now for bowl games, I don't care until January 1st.
Yeah, we'll dive into the Oregon State Notre Dame game here in about 15 minutes, as that will go on tomorrow. I think at 11 o'clock kick. So Suk and I will be in to recap the game, but Will and I will preview that in about 15 minutes. I want to stick because the whole reason this kind of got me thinking is Florida State reportedly will have 20-plus kids opt out for the game against Georgia, but are talking trash like they're as elite as everybody else. So we'll get into that next. But before we do that, we'll slide over to Schultze with sports.
This is College Bowl Week on Primetime with Isaac and Sue.
Brought to you by Mods PDX. The future of building is here.
Now, from the Spirit Mountain Casino Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
This update brought to you by Annie Plumbing, Heating and Air, serving Portland, Southwest Washington, and the Gorge. Online at annieheatingandcooling.com. It's hard to stop a train. First on The Fan, the Ducks getting a bit of good news today. Defensive back Tysheen Johnson said this morning at a Fiesta Bowl conference he will forego the NFL draft and return for 2024. Also, Ducks D coordinator Tosh Lupoy says that DN Jordan Birch and linebacker Jaleel Florence are game-time decisions for Monday's Fiesta Bowl against Liberty. The Honolulu Civil Beat reports that Oregon and Hawaii are in discussions to move the 2024 season opener in Honolulu. Not yet known, though, if the game will still be played next year or sometime in the future. Oregon State's head coach Trent Bray announcing the hiring of Keith Hayward as D coordinator. He returns to his alma mater where he played in the secondary from 1997 through 2000. Hayward also previously held coaching positions with both the Ducks and Beavers. And I'll tell you what, a real must-watch to kick off Week 17 in the NFL as the Browns host the Jets for Thursday Night Football. Cleveland, led by Joe Flacco, 7.5-point favorites. Kick off at 5:15 on Prime Video. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Schultze from the Spirit Mountain Casino Sports Desk. Get in the game at Spirit Mountain Casino. Watch and wager with our sportsbook powered by BetMGM. Learn more at spiritmountain.com.
Daily Boost is the podcast for in-depth analysis on the sports betting landscape. Listen on Odyssey or wherever you get your podcasts.
Nick Suk here for the Big Ford store, Vancouver Ford, locally owned and #1 in customer service for the 6th straight year. Their certified staff is ready to get you the ride you're looking for. Vancouver Ford isn't just my hometown dealer, it's the dealer I send my family, my friends, my listeners to, because I know that they're going to be well taken care of and you won't find a better deal, period. Vancouver Ford is proud to represent my hometown, and I'm proud to stand behind them. Find them off Andreessen and SR 500 in the heart of Clark County.
All right, coming up here in about 15 minutes, we'll preview Oregon State versus Notre Dame tomorrow in the Sun Bowl. 11 a.m. on CBS, the Sun Bowl, the Tony the Tiger's Sun Bowl.
Ooh, I hear that game's gonna be great.
You want to know something fun I learned over the holiday season? We have a Grinch Day in my house, where everything we try to eat is green.
Oh.
We have beverages that are green, and we watch all 4 Grinch movies. And because now there's 4, there's a musical
4?
that is absolutely atrocious. So do not get a part of that.
I've only heard of 2.
Well,
What's
there's the
third
old one.
There's a cartoon.
The old cartoon. There's the Jim Carrey live action.
Yep.
There is a Benedict Cumberbatch cartoon, which is actually really good. And then there's a musical, and the musical is oof.
It's rough.
Real rough. But I was like looking at the guy who sings the Grinch song, You're a mean one, that
Mr.
big
Grinch.
baritone voice.
Yeah, yeah.
He is also the voice of Tony the Tiger.
That makes sense.
They're great.
I mean, Tony the Tiger has a deep, distinct voice.
What's the better gig? Tony the Tiger or the Grinch song?
Tony the Tiger.
Staying power, Tony the Tiger for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know, because you get a check every year from both of them, right? Like every Christmas, I just saw Mariah Carey, All I Want for Christmas Is You. That one song, she makes $2.5 million every single year. And
Jeez.
you would assume, You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch makes in the few hundred thousands range.
I might argue it would make more than Mariah Carey.
I don't know what the Tony the Tiger guy makes.
I mean,
Well, I'm going to go out on a limb and say he's not alive.
Right. Well, what does his family make? But the Grinch.
Or the guy right now.
Right. But the Grinch, you can play that anywhere. You can't play Mariah Carey's song just anywhere, I wouldn't think.
Yeah. All I Want for Christmas Is You. I think it's family.
I'm talking with kids. Can you play that song with kids? Am I misremembering?
What, Mean One, Mr. Grinch?
Mean One, Mr. Grinch, you can for sure.
All I Want
That's
for
what I'm
Christmas
saying.
Is You?
All I Want for Christmas
totally.
Is You.
Yeah, it's
You think you're gonna be? You think you're gonna be okay to school? Okay, so maybe I'm wrong there.
Kid friendly for sure.
I would have thought the Grinch, just because everybody knows the Grinch story, so everyone plays the Grinch song. But I could be totally out on left field on that. But it's Tony the Tiger, because you're constantly doing stuff. And if I heard that voice, I would not go, "Hey, it's the Grinch." I'd go, "Tony,
Hey, that's Tony the Tiger.
Tony, what's going on, dude?" Tony the Tiger's way better, more staying power, and I think more people would like you.
All right. So we'll get into the Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl here in about 10 minutes. But finishing our conversation from the AAA heating and cooling poll question that you have all voted super hard on, Florida State.
Ooh.
Florida State is reportedly has over 20 players opting out. And Will, what's the number of an average college football player roster number?
In college, I think for D1 FBS,
It's
you're
like in the 80s?
Well, that's scholarship, so you're probably around 100 total.
Okay.
But scholarship players, you're looking at about 80 to 86, I think.
So you're losing a quarter to over a quarter of your team for opting out. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say the backup long snapper is not opting out.
No, it is not the third string. It's not the backup quarterback.
No.
It is all starters for the most part, or guys who got playing time who think that they can be a starter somewhere else.
Somewhere else, yeah. So if 11 is on each side of the ball, that's 22. You can do the math. This could be really brutal. And I find this interesting. Like we were just talking about guys that sit out, and if you're sitting out because you're going into the portal, if you're sitting out because you're going to the draft, I totally get it. You don't want to get hurt. That's why I give Bo Nix a ton of props for playing. Like, good on you, dude. Like, great on you for playing.
How cool.
How very, very cool that you are playing. But I totally understand guys that's sitting out. What I don't understand is the rhetoric coming out of Florida State, who I have defended on this show, my show, other shows, that I think they got a little jobbed. And we don't need to get into that, but I feel like they got a little jobbed. But if you're going to start barking the way they're barking about if we beat Georgia and we come out of this undefeated and nobody else is undefeated, then we will raise a banner.
Well, I think the goalpost is going to get moved whether they win this game or not. Because if they lose this game,
it's like a house money thing.
When you have 20 people opt out, instantly, we just did it with the Oregon State Notre Dame. Like how excited I would have been, and you would have been, and Jordan would have been to watch that game if it was full on full.
Makes it a lot better to preview here in 10 minutes.
Right. Well, now that it's not full on full, if Notre Dame drubs Oregon State, I'm going to be like, who cares?
Yeah.
They didn't have their players.
Yeah, if Georgia blows out Florida State,
you instantly just go, dude, 20 opt-outs.
Yeah.
It's not the same. And these 20 players wouldn't have opted out if they were playing in the playoff. And if they were playing in the playoff, you can still move the goalpost to, well, they could have won, or they could have done this, or they could have done that. And instantly they're going to go to, well, Cardell Jones, he was a backup. He won the whole title. Why couldn't we have done that at Florida State?
Yeah.
So what they're going to continue to do, and what you just have to be ready for the rest of the year, is they are going to move the goalpost because they did get jobbed. I agree with you. I think two things can be true. Florida State did everything that they should have done to get into the playoff. That being said, the best matchups are what we have right now in the playoffs because of how teams are playing at the end of the year. Right. So when I go through this, what Florida State fans are going to do, Danny Cannell specifically on Twitter, is they are going to use this to their advantage. If somehow Florida State wins this game against Georgia, look at how well they did without all their best players.
That's
how could that not be a champion?
Look at the future of this place.
We would have been a champion. We beat you with our second team players. We would have been so much better if we had all of our guys. And if they don't win this game, it's instant. We didn't have all our guys. You didn't go against our best team. That loss doesn't count. It's not real.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, though. I feel a little cheated. Like I said, I'm totally fine with people opting out and that kind of stuff. You got to worry about you. Even in college football, you got to worry about you. I've got no problem with that. But boy, it takes a little bit of the shine off for me because as somebody who kind of fought for Florida State, now, do I think Florida State is maybe one of the top 4 teams in the nation? Probably not.
Right.
But I just don't like how the committee handled it.
I agree. Completely agree with you.
Let us know that in advance. Like, kind of give us a warning instead of just looking like you chose Blue Bloods and UW. See what I did there?
Purple.
And so it takes a little shine off that because here I am kind of fighting for them. Like, I think they should be in the Natty. Do I think if they're the 4 seed or in the playoff? Do I think if they're the 4 seed and they play Michigan? Do I think they get routed? Probably. Right. Who knows? That's my only if. UW, Texas, I think both of them beat them. Right. Personally. But when you do this and you start talking jive about we're going to raise a banner, but nobody's going to play, like it makes me... I don't think I'm going to watch the Orange Bowl.
Well, and they're suing too. I'm not going to watch the Orange Bowl, but I wasn't going to watch the Orange Bowl before the 20 opt-outs anyways, because I'm the idiot that watched the Florida game and that watched the Louisville game.
Yeah, the Louisville game, we made a mistake there. I watched it too.
Right. They're not a playoff team right now. And that sucks because injuries happen. Right. And when you do everything that you are supposed to do, you should get rewarded. It doesn't matter if the QB was playing or not.
And that's the problem with how the committee set it up.
Right. But now that you've gone through this and you have not only the backup QB, but now you have 20 guys that are opting out, your top 2 wide receivers, they're gone. They're getting ready for the draft. A bunch of your top offensive weapons, your tight end is gone. You have your backup quarterback. He entered the transfer portal, so he's gone. Your leading rusher, your best defensive end, your best cornerbacks, your best DBs, they're all gone.
Yeah.
And most of Georgia's guys, they stayed because they're young and they can use this game as a launching point and all these practices as a launching point to improve what they're going to do next year.
Right.
It's going to be a drubbing. And that sucks. But if you're Florida State, they're just going to continue to move the goalpost. Their lawmakers, for whatever reason, are going to continue to sue the NCAA for stupid reasons. And it's just going to be that annoying thing that we see on Twitter for the next 4 to 5 months.
Yep. And that's why I'm going to skip it. Like Florida State, I had you back. I had you back big time. I don't believe in the USF or the UCF. I don't remember which one it was. And
UCF.
Now UCF and now Florida State raising banners when you didn't play in the game. It reminds me of Husky fans screaming from the mountaintops that they're a national champ from 91. You're a co-national champ, and if you'd played Miami, you'd got absolutely smoked. So I don't love that narrative, but you've made me. I'm not interested in the game, and quite honestly, I hope you get smoked. I hope you get smoked.
I don't think you.
And I got no dog in the fight. I'm not going to bet on it. I don't have a Georgia tie. I don't care about the ACC versus the SEC. I hope you get smoked.
And I
that being said, it'll probably be on my television.
I think they're going to get smoked. And you know what? It's not going to be on mine. I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
I won't bring myself to do that, especially when I know that I'm already sick of what FSU is doing, and it's only going to get worse.
That game is Saturday at 1:00.
It should be Saturday at 9.
I think I have Premier League action I can watch.
It's
instead.
the ultimate. It's a Big Ten West game without a Big Ten West team playing in it.
Basically.
That's exactly what it is.
I'm actually more interested in the 9 a.m. game on Saturday, Ole Miss Penn State.
That's a way better
Couple
game.
teams that think they're awesome, but always somehow lose 2-3 games because they can't beat the big dogs.
Well, and they don't, to my understanding, neither of those teams have a ton of opt-outs.
No.
That'll be a good game.
Yeah.
That's the part that's tough about bowl season now is you almost have to pay attention to who is opting out and who isn't.
Right.
And once you find two teams that aren't opting out, that's a game to watch.
All right, when we come back, let's dive in and give a little preview of Notre Dame versus Oregon State in the Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl tomorrow. What could this mean for Oregon State as a program, or does it mean anything else? Plus, they got a new DC in the house. Some Oregon State news for you coming up next. Primetime, Patrick Harris, Will Ortner, 1080 The Fan.
It's time for Who's Leading the Charge? A look under the hood at the coaches, players, and teams getting it done. Brought to you by Battery Exchange.
One-on-one with Wilson. The drive, the deuce, and the horn.
You can tell, Giannis right there just imposes his will.
Giannis last night, 32 points. Bucks beat the Nets 144-122. Second in the Eastern Conference right now. I love this Bucks team. I think what's interesting about this Bucks team when you look around the league at, Boston, who's doing well, and the Thunder, who are doing great. Can Denver repeat? I kind of like how they're just going through the motions. They'll figure it out. There's no need to panic. Let Giannis do Giannis.
Well, they're a smart team too, and they're older, so they know when to peak and when to start playing hard. You're going to see it come.
System checks at 14 area locations. Battery Exchange with an X.com.
The college football portal's open.
If you're a top 25 school, you're going to be in the quarterback portal, I think, pretty much every year.
Who's stepping through?
Dylan Gabriel from
done.
Coming up in the 4 o'clock hour, we'll get into a little bit of baseball because that's me, and also the plethora of starting quarterbacks being benched in the NFL. We'll save the big one for the 5 o'clock hour. Don't worry, we'll get to you, buddy.
Which one could that be?
We'll get to you, my friend. A little housekeeping business. You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch, the voice. Check out these names. Let me just take you down the path. It is commonly assumed, and we saw it on the Vancouver Ford text line, 503-864-6326, that the song was performed by Boris Karloff.
And that's the Tony the Tiger guy?
No, he is the narrator and the voice of the Grinch. He is a longtime horror actor from back in the day, like when kind of movies were really picking up. Still black and white, but horror movies.
Oh, so he's doing the Hitchcock films.
Yes, stuff like that. So he was not the singer. It was a guy named Thurl Ravenscroft.
What?
That's an awesome name.
My boy Thurl.
And that is the voice of Tony the Tiger.
Do you call him T. Earl? What's his nickname?
Thurl Ravenscroft.
His nickname's got to be The.
Or you just call him like Raven? That might be.
T-Rave.
T-Rave? Dude.
It's so Raven.
T-Rave would be a great nickname.
A lot of people, he wasn't credited on the movie, so a lot of people thought it was a guy named Tennessee Ernie Ford.
Tennessee Ernie Ford.
Tennessee Ernie Ford.
What a first name.
Also, it won the Grammy Award for Best Album for Children at, get this, the 10th annual Grammys.
The 10th annual Grammys.
10th time.
Got to start somewhere, I guess,
10th
right?
time.
Well, you know what? Shout out old Ravenscroft.
Yep, Ravenscroft.
Sorry, Ravenscroft.
I know, I got like marbles.
I apologize to the great Ravenscroft.
Tomorrow, you are going to catch the Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl. That is Oregon State and Notre Dame in El Paso, Texas. One of my random cities in the United States I would like to visit simply because of the Marty Robbins song that was covered by Bob Weir and the Grateful Dead. I don't know why, but I have heard that there are more border crossings in El Paso, Texas than anywhere else in America, which leads me to believe best Mexican food in El Paso, Texas.
I would agree with that.
So I would like to go to El Paso, Texas and eat some tacos.
It's like they're San Diego because of Tijuana. And that's Juarez, right? That's the.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I know someone I can ask about how good the food is out in Juarez.
Man,
the great Dusty Hera.
I think it's interesting. You mentioned this in the break, Will.
Yeah.
It does feel like when you are a fan of a Pac-12 team, soon to be RIP. But if you're a fan of a Pac-12 team that's not a big boy,
right?
Or you have a good season maybe once every 3 years, boy, it feels like we're in the Sun Bowl a lot, huh?
1,000%. Like
Wazoo is like Sun Bowl legends.
It seemed like every year with Matt Moore, Sean Mannion, Cody Vaz, like Oregon State, just no matter how well they did or how poorly they did, it's like, what are they playing? Oh, the Sun Bowl.
Shout out Anthony Gordon in the Sun Bowl against Miami.
Right. Like,
won that game in the snow. It was like home field advantage.
In Utah.
Miami didn't know what to do in the snow. We got them.
Well, it just seems like this is where they always end up. And the part that's such... And it's frustrating, and we just keep talking about it, but it's so true because it's such a prevalent topic in bowl games. When Cody Vaz or Sean Mannion or, other Oregon State-led teams went to those games, you still got excited about the Sun Bowl because everyone played in it. And it was, how well does our conference match up? And I remember at the end of bowl season being like, wow, the Pac-12 was really strong this year. Look at how they did in bowl games against these other conferences. Or, wow, the Pac-12 was really rough this year because they lost a lot of games to other conferences. None of that means anything anymore because of the amount of opt-outs.
Right.
Oregon State is gutted right now. And Notre Dame, they still have a bunch of guys that are opting out. So when you look at the line, it's Notre Dame -6.5. If everyone's
that
healthy,
feels like such a national line. That feels like such a line of people that don't watch Oregon State, that aren't really looking into the opt-outs and who the backup quarterbacks are.
Right.
And so that just screams like I got this SI.com article to remind me some stats to tell you so I can sound smart. And at the very end, the whole paragraph is like who will win, and it talks about how Notre Dame is trash, and they're like, we'll take Notre Dame to win, cover the spread, and hit the over.
Yes.
It's like, you just told me they suck.
Because I don't think, when I think of Notre Dame, they have more of their normal starters in, so the 6.5
and you would think that even their depth recruits at a higher level.
1,000%. Like, yes, they're missing their best two offensive weapons and one of their starting wide receivers, but their backup's going to be better. Like, no offense to Ben Goldbranson, but I've seen Ben Goldbranson. I know what you're getting out of Ben Goldbranson, and he's not even having the full plethora of talent at the skill
he doesn't even have his
positions.
receivers. He's got 3 guys out.
He doesn't even have his running back.
And Martinez is out.
He doesn't even have his running back. He doesn't have his offensive line.
But I will say, though, that I think, Goldbranson, in the games that he's played for Oregon State, a lot of those games he played for them, they weren't very good.
No,
and I'm not saying he was like some world beater with a bad squad, but I mean, at least the guy's got a shining the turd. At least he's got a little experience playing with garbage.
And he's found ways to win, but did he find those ways to win because of him? Like, yeah, you beat Oregon, and he was the starting quarterback in that game, but you didn't win that game because of him.
Right.
And this isn't an attack on him.
No, not at all.
I was a player that I developed later.
Sure.
Maybe he's that type of player. There are many great.
He might be the starter going into next year.
There are many great Oregon State quarterbacks that took them a long time to develop. Sean Mannion, number 1 for me. Matt Moore, took him a long time. Derek Anderson. You have a lot of guys that it takes time for them to develop. So maybe he's one of those guys. But that being said, he's going into this without his best 5 weapons. How is that fair?
Right.
All of his best offensive linemen, they're gone. So his head coach isn't even coaching in this game. Not just his head coach that he had the entire year, his new head coach. His new head coach is not coaching in this football game. So how can you ask them to come out and compete? And then in my eyes, why would I watch a game where I'm not even getting their B+ effort? And it's not because the guys aren't trying. It's just because
get a C-
everyone
effort.
is gone.
Well, I might peek into this game just to see how it goes. Real quick, you don't have to give me a score. Does Oregon State have any chance to win this bowl game?
Here's the thing. I'd love to say no, but Miami just got throttled by Rutgers.
Cristobal,
you know
look like a genius out there. Boy, wonder what happens when you don't got Uncle Phil money.
I would love to say no, but bowl games are weird, and who knows? Maybe Notre Dame's quarterback comes in and just turns the ball over. Like, yeah, they're missing their best players, but let's not act like they were just lighting the world on fire.
Right.
They had a lot of losses that they shouldn't have had, and they should have lost to Duke. So I might tune into the first half, and then that'll be one of those where maybe it's on in the gym for me. I'm going to go to the gym. I'll throw it on the treadmill. If it's really important, I'll throw it on the cell phone while I'm doing curls.
Well, I'll tell you what. I will give a shout out to my Pac-2 brethren, Oregon State. Wonderful people down there in Corvallis, and we hope to have a long-standing connection with you as you are great friends. I'm going to take Oregon State in this game. I don't bet, so what the hell do I got to lose?
I hope they win. I hope it's fun. I hope it's competitive. I worry it won't be.
I worry it won't be as well. Last little thing, and then we'll move on. Keith Hayward hired as the Beavers defensive coordinator. He was one season with the Raiders as a defensive quality control coach. Played for the Beavs in, what is that, 97? Jordan, you've been saying that on your
97
update?
through 2000.
97
That's a great
through
year.
2000.
97 is a great year.
I just wonder if Trent Bray is
that
like,
is when I was born.
I wonder if Bray is just like, hey, where's my boys? If we're going to lose, let's at least have a lot of fun.
Hey, Oregon State's done their best when they've had Oregon State guys.
Yeah, sure.
Guys who get it, who get why Corvallis is a great place, who get the type of guys you need to recruit. I don't hate it.
So defensive coordinator in the house for you. The Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl tomorrow, 11 a.m. Oregon State, 19 in the nation versus Notre Dame, number 16 in the nation. We come back. I can't believe I made it a full hour, but it's time to get into a little baseball, baby. That's what we do here. This is Primetime, Portland Sports Leader, 1080 The Fan. Second hour of Prime Time. If you missed the first hour, you can download that on the Service Patriots podcast. Service Patriots, your home comfort solution for all your heating and air conditioning needs. Check out the latest special offers for our listeners. That's you at servicepatriots.com/thefan. 30 minutes we'll have in the news. Plus a little heavy, we'll get into Russell Wilson in the 5 o'clock hour. And friendly reminder, we're done at 5:30 as Ducks take on USC in Eugene.
Russ is dangerously, his career might be done.
He is limited. He is not Mr. Unlimited. He is Mr. Limited.
Hey, Seattle. Just never forget that. Like, bro, you're like in your bed. This is so weird.
With his wife underneath his arm. That being said, I do think he's getting jobbed a little bit.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
A little bit. He was set up for failure with Peyton.
So we'll get into that in the 5 o'clock hour right after the Hot 5 and 5. But there was no way I was going to get through a show without talking a little bit of baseball. I'm going to do it to Big Souk tomorrow when he's in for the last show of 2023 here on Portland Sports Leader. But over the break, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, who is wonderfully called Yoshi on the Hot Corner.
Thank goodness.
Yes, I will allow you to have that. I did spend some time making sure I know how to say Yoshinobu Yamamoto.
Even if I knew how to pronounce
I feel very good about it.
I would not pronounce it correctly. I have known how to pronounce Fafita's name for 3 months.
But it's Fifta.
It always comes out Fifta.
Fifta.
It drives Rob nuts.
I'm sure it does.
It does.
Well, it's probably like Jared Goff.
Yeah, I don't know how he keeps getting it Jared Goff. Like it's Goff.
Yeah.
It's so easy.
Yeah.
But there's always those names.
But Yoshi, he signed a 12-year, $325 million deal with the Dodgers, which is the largest pitching contract in Major League history. It beats Garrett Cole by $1 million.
How much
$1, Bob.
How much do you want to bet that was a very large sticking point?
I bet you it was.
For him. Like,
I want to make more than Garrett Cole.
You are going to pay me the most.
Which is wild because Garrett Cole is quite proven in the major leagues.
Yes, but I also think it shows you how much MLB owners and GMs truly think of the Japanese league.
Right, and truly about this guy especially. Like, he's 5'10", so he's not a huge dude, but he's got his out pitch is a slider, and in today's baseball, Schultz, you can attest to this, a slider as your out pitch ain't a bad place to be. I mean, Corey Kluber made a career off of it. A lot of guys make careers off of it. Yoshi, I expect to be pretty good.
You see that $1 million smile he's got too?
He's a good-looking kid.
I know that, like, I even heard a couple of the national people talking about it, like, gosh, guy that attractive, he's just got all of it put together. He's that way on the mound. Like, he wins in life. He wins on the baseball field. He's going to do just fine. But beyond that, I am excited to see what was the weakest point for the Dodgers last year now become one of the best rotations in baseball. Possibly.
Yeah, as they acquire Tyler Glasnow and locked him up as well. I'm a big Glasnow fan. With his out pitch is the slutter, which is a slider and a cutter combo.
Ooh.
I figured you'd like that.
I love the slutter. Big fan of slutters.
Big fan of the slutter.
Big fan of slutters.
But Will, I'll ask you this. I mean, you've sat in with us on the Hot Corner a few times, and you're an average baseball fan. Does with the signing of Shohei Ohtani and the signing of Yoshi Yamamoto to the Dodgers, does this because there's all this uproar of baseball's stupid, this is such a joke now, Dodgers are just loading up and they'll just dominate everyone. Does that affect you as a sports watcher, consumer, daily job guy?
The only way it affects me is I'm looking for when the Dodgers come to Seattle because I want to watch them.
Yeah, go see them.
If I could see a Yamamoto game you're going to see Shohei no matter what because he's not going to be pitching.
Right.
But if he was pitching in a year or two, that would be something that I would try to structure a trip to Seattle for. When I look at this team, and we've talked about it before, baseball is so much about, are you hot in the right moment? Like, how often do we see the Yankees, the Red Sox, the Dodgers in the past? Let's just buy all the talented players. Where does that get them? Where did it get the New York Mets last year?
Yeah.
They bought all of their players.
And then traded half of them at the deadline.
Because they weren't any good and they didn't mesh well. And so for me, when I watch baseball, I don't think that they have gone out and just bought a championship. And even if they win the championship next year, I'm not going to say that they bought the championship because when you watch those series, they're going to have 3 pitchers that are on every single time they go out and play. And you're going to have your hitters on every single time they go out and play. When you watch Philly, The last 2 years, they have barely got into the playoffs as a wild card team.
Yeah.
And then they go on these big, long runs. And this year, the only reason they didn't go all the way to the World Series is because Arizona beat them, who also went on a big, long run.
A bunch of nobodies.
They had a worse win percentage than the Mariners, and the Mariners didn't even get in, yet Arizona got in, and they absolutely dominated the Dodgers, and they won multiple games at the bank, which I was told was an SEC football environment in a baseball game.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what, I think what's really interesting about the Dodgers is, if you look on the surface, you got Shohei Ohtani, Freddie Freeman, and Mookie Betts at the plate. Those are three of the top 10 hitters in baseball. No doubt about it. And they all do different things.
Yep.
So, yes, that scares the ever-loving Jesus out of me. The Dodgers last year, Schultz pinpointed it, like their rotation was a hot dumpster fire. And now you've got Yamamoto and Glass now, and maybe Kershaw's got one last year, and maybe May can come back and do something. Hopefully Buehler comes back and does something because I love him. But, man, let me ask you some questions. Who's playing third? Who's playing second? Who's playing short? Who's playing left? And who's playing center? And what's your bullpen? There's talks like they might go get Josh Hader, and if they get Josh Hader, that shores up a lot of that. But even then, I don't know if that's that good. Because Josh Hader might sound great to you, Will, but as somebody that watches baseball every day, Josh Hader is not worth the dollar price that he's going to ask.
Well, the other thing, too, with closers and relief pitchers just in general, how often do we see a guy be dominant and then the next year they're horrific?
Right.
Or vice versa. They're horrific and then they're dominant. I mean, I lived a decent portion of my life where the pucker factor when the Mariners had a 2-run lead when Fernando Rodney was coming into pitch, because you knew he was going to give up one. You knew no matter what, if you were going to win with Fernando Rodney, it was going to be a 1-run game. It didn't matter if he came in with 5 runs or 1 run. It was going to be a 1-run game.
So I wear my hat like this.
Because you're super dope.
Just like
super
love
cool.
Fernando Rodney.
Well, that's the thing with baseball. It really is just who is peaking at the right time.
It's timely. It's for sure timely. And will the Dodgers be the favorite? Sure. Should they win that division? Yeah, I think so. I mean, I like what Arizona's building on. San Francisco, if you're a Giants fan, I'm sorry, my friends. That's going in the wrong direction right now. But the Dodgers will be favored to win that. But, I mean,
they should.
I still like the Phillies competing. I still like the Braves competing.
I don't think they have as many questions as you were just bringing up, though. I was literally just last night looking at their depth chart now. It's like, I don't mind putting Rojas at the bottom of the lineup at shortstop, putting him, hitting ninth.
There's a chance that Gavin Lux might play shortstop.
He might come back from injury. That's true. He was supposed to. I mean, that horrible injury thing at spring training last year. He was their starting shortstop supposedly in 23. Up and comer.
Should have paid Corey Seager.
They should have paid him
Corey
the money.
Seager.
Manuel Margot, though, in that trade.
That's right. I forgot about that. So that's another corner outfield, a DH if Shohei's off.
And then also James Outman, that kid, he quietly hit 20, 25 homers last year. He's a 26, 27-year-old rookie, kind of more like a Mariners style, like late bloomer Mitch Haniger type of player. But if he's consistent, gives you 25 homers again this year in the outfield. So really, in my mind, they've only got to plug one hole. Muncie's fine at third base defensively. They just got to find a left fielder.
Yeah, this could be big, and I'll leave it on this. This could be big. They could steamroll everybody, but there's nothing about this team that tells me that it is a guarantee. Nothing in baseball is a guarantee. Let's not forget, nobody's won back-to-back World Series since the Yankees in the 90s, okay? So, let's keep that in mind, that baseball is a very fickle bitch sometimes, and she will rear her ugly head out when you least expect it.
It's the ultimate... Championships don't matter when you talk about greatness for a player. When you talk about greatness for a player in football, there is a little bit to do with how many championships did you win. When you talk about greatness for a player in the NBA, it is 1,000% all about
titles.
All about titles, unless you're Bill Russell. Then it doesn't matter because you played against plumbers and electricians. But for baseball, no one rips on Ken Griffey Jr. for never winning a title. Why? Because it's so difficult.
Yeah,
it's so difficult to get there.
But Chuck never gets credit. Dan Marino might be the greatest quarterback of all time, but he'll never get credit because he never won a Super Bowl.
But in baseball, you're still going to get the credit because it truly is a team sport. In a way, you can have all 9 of your hitters absolutely hit the leather off the ball. But if you have a pitching staff that's horrific and they're giving up 9 runs a game, you're not going to win. And so that's why I'm not worried about the Dodgers buying all these players. I hope they play well. I think it would be fun to see them make multiple runs at World Series and at titles. It's the best thing for baseball aside from the Yankees doing that.
Sure.
But to come in here and just be like, they've bought a championship, it's over. Like, did we not learn from the 2010 Miami Heat? Did we not learn from the
Did
big
we not
three?
learn?
It doesn't always go the way it's supposed to.
No, 2 of 4 is a disappointment, and that's wild to say. You won 2 titles, you went to 4 finals in a row, but you only won 2, man. A little bit of a disappointment.
Right. That's not how I'll view this. I think they need to, if you have this crew and you keep them together for 5 years, you need to have one.
I would say you need to have 2.
But
honestly,
and that's fine.
Yeah. But you're right. At least 1.
1 to 2.
At least 1.
And then I think it's successful. And I think that can totally happen, and it doesn't have to happen in the first year.
All right, you can turn your channel back to 1080 The Fan as we are done with baseball. I promise that's the last I will do of baseball today only. All right, when we come back, let's slide over to the NFL as, Russell Wilson's not the only one making headlines of losing his job. We talked about this last week, Will. I'd love to hear your opinion on just bad football, bad quarterback play, and kind of F around and find out. That's next. Primetime, 1080 The Fan.
Oregon Ducks.
In with you today, Jordan Schultz on the ones and twos. I was talking last week, I think it was me and Joe sitting on a show last week, and I was talking to him about how I feel like, so you know how you, Will, are a casual MLB fan. Like, you know what's going on, but you don't like yearn to watch it.
Yeah, I watch my team. That's what I do.
I'm like that with the NFL, but probably a little more because NFL is king.
Yeah.
And it's like specific days, 1 game a week, or 4 games a week, but you know what I mean?
Right. And it's an off day. You're not doing anything on Sundays.
Sure.
Makes sense.
So I watch more football than you watch baseball.
Right.
And I don't have a team, so I just watch whatever the good matchups are.
Ooh, there you go.
And I was chatting with Joe about this, and I was curious if it ever hits a point of breaking. There's been a lot of really, really bad football this year. More so than maybe I've ever seen. And that's culminating right now with a lot of quarterbacks being benched for bad play. That it's like there's 5 seconds where they look like whether your starter got hurt and went down or your starter is just garbage and needs to be replaced. There's a lot of that some guy comes in, has 10 minutes of fame, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, everything's going to be fine. 2 games later, they're absolute garbage.
Right. Well, the quarterback position is very difficult to play, and that's a no duh, Will, right?
Yeah.
So you already have a finite number of truly great quarterbacks. Honestly, you have a finite number of truly good quarterbacks. People want to rip on Kirk Cousins all the time and get upset about him, or Joe Flacco when he was playing with the Ravens, like way back in the day, not old Joe Flacco with the Browns. And they go, oh, that guy sucks. That guy's horrible. Matt Hasselbeck in Seattle.
Is he elite?
Right. Is he an elite quarterback or is he an average quarterback? There's not a lot of average quarterbacks because that position is so difficult to play. The reads you have to make pre-snap, post-snap, you have to move guys. Half the time you're making throws where you're looking one way and then at the last minute you're coming all the way back across. You're like, that guy better be there.
Yeah.
Or it's a timing route or whatever. And a lot of people are jumping on this year being bad because everyone goes, well, there's so many injuries at quarterback. When you actually go down and you look at the quarterback injuries, it's about an average year. There's going to be less quarterback starters than last year. When you think about that, there were 69 quarterbacks last year. Right. I think this year they're just under 60. And you're going to have teams like in Washington or in New York with the Giants where they are starting quarterbacks because they want to see what they have on the bench.
Sure.
And next week, you're going to see some quarterbacks that start so that they can rest their true starters for the playoffs.
So that number will bump to, say, maybe 75.
Not that high.
Not that high. Okay.
I think you're looking at maybe 62, 63, which is less than what happened last year. The difference is, and why I think you see so much poor play, is the quarterbacks that have gotten hurt are out for the entire year. Your Kirk Cousins is out for the entire year.
Yep.
Joe Burrow is out for the entire year.
Deshaun Watson,
horrible person. I really hate to see that he got hurt and had to sit out for the whole year. That really sucks.
Really breaks
I'm really
my heart.
bummed out about that.
Daniel Jones.
Aaron Rodgers, who you forget about. Then you go and look, man, Anthony Richardson looked like he was having a decent little rookie campaign. He's out the entire year.
The mustache comes in.
Right. So in most years, those top QBs don't get hurt and miss a lot of games, or when they do, they only miss 2 or 3, kind of like Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence has had to fight through a lot of injuries this year, but you see him miss 2 or 3 games, then he comes back. I think it's been so poor because you have these really, really good quarterbacks. In some situations, like Burrow, top 3 quarterbacks in the league, get hurt early in the year and miss the entire season.
Right.
So now you're
4
getting
snaps for Rodgers.
You're getting the bottom of the barrel with some of these guys.
Yeah, I just find it interesting to look, and there were guys here that everybody was going with, and I'll go down the list, who, in my opinion, are absolutely hot garbage because they were being replaced. Some of them are being replaced for dudes that I think might be better than them, but some of them are being replaced by dudes that it's equal, if not worse.
Right.
DeVito in New York, oof, I'm really glad this is over. Like, I hope this is it. Can we just get Tyrod for the rest of the year and just move on?
He'll be more efficient. He won't take the risks. You know, like DeVito, what made DeVito work against Green Bay is because he took the risk. Were they stupid? Yeah, but they paid off in that game. They didn't pay off against their opponent this last week. So
Minnesota, Nick Mullins, for somebody that I don't even know.
Hall, he was starting quarterback last year at BYU. He's an interesting guy because when he was at BYU, you heard a lot of positives about him. He's a big, strong kid. Mm-hmm. He can run really fast. He's got a big, strong arm. They want him to be the backup. And frankly, since they're probably going to move on from Kirk Cousins, they'd like him to emerge kind of like Jordan Love because he has all the talent in the world to do it. Does he have the ability, the brain to see things and figure out what he wants to do? They're not benching Mullins because, well, they might be benching him for his turnover issues, but they're not benching him because it's like, well, he's absolutely atrocious, we have to get rid of him. They want to figure out if Hall's the guy.
Gotcha.
And so that's what you're seeing there is Hall the guy? They wanted to use him earlier, but he got a concussion. That's why they had to go to Dobbs. I'm interested to see how he does.
The other one that's really fascinating to me is Desmond Ridder getting benched for Taylor Heineke.
Oh, good.
Boy, that's a mouthful. And that one's interesting because I feel like Atlanta wants to make Desmond Ridder work.
They want to make fetch happen.
Yeah, it's just not going to happen.
Stop making fetch happen.
Yeah.
Desmond Ridder can't do it. Heineke's better.
I agree.
But it's the same thing that happened with him.
They've got an outside look, do they not, for that division? Because that division's such garbage.
They need a lot of help. I believe
Tampa's kind of running away with it.
I believe they're a couple games back, and they don't have any of the tiebreakers. So they need some help. My thing with it is Heineke's better, but they wanted Ridder to work. So now you're going to get a better option with him. It's the same thing that happened last year in Washington. It's the same thing that happened with Fitzmagic for a lot of his career. Those guys are brought in to be stopgap quarterbacks, and then all of a sudden they start outperforming what they were supposed to be, and that rookie quarterback is not as good as everyone says they are.
Yeah.
But you still have to bench him anyways because you have to give that rookie a shot because you've invested so much money in them. You're finally starting to get Heineke in because they've clearly given up on Ridder.
And the last one is Sam Howell in D.C. for Jacoby Brissett.
I don't really understand that one. That's the one that
you're kind of not going anywhere. Might as well see really what, unless they know what they've got from Sam Howell.
Right. And well, that's the other thing. Like, are you truly going to give up on Sam Howell after 1 year? Because if you are, that's fine. That tells me that you're going to go get a QB because you're going to, in Washington, they're going to be right around the top 10
and
for their
QB-loaded draft.
A lot of QBs, a lot of really good, talented QBs, and you can go in a bunch of different directions.
There's a lot of smoke around that organization, too, about Rivera going out and Belichick maybe, and
right, or
why not hit the full reset right then and
maybe
there.
You let Bieniemy, let's see what he can be, make him the head coach there. My thing with that, it doesn't make sense unless you are truly done with Sam Howell and you're moving on. And in that case, did you really give him enough time? You saw 17 games from the kid, 16?
Yeah. Is that enough?
That doesn't seem like enough to me, especially for a guy who at times showed flashes of brilliance. This isn't a Josh Rosen kid. No. He's decent.
I forgot about Josh Rosen.
Yeah, so did the rest of the NFL because he was horrible.
And then the last one is Danger Russ, but we'll go ahead and get to that at the 5 o'clock hour, and that is what we call a professional tease. For that one is a little bit different than guys sucking and getting benched. A lot more fire where that smoke is. So we'll do that in the 5 o'clock hour. When we come back, it is in the news, but first, Schultze with sports.
This is College Bowl Week on Primetime with Isaac and Sue.
Brought to you by Mods PDX. The future of building is here.
Now, from the Spirit Mountain Casino Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
First on The Fan, the Oregon Ducks getting some good news today. Junior defensive back Tysheem Johnson stating this morning at a Fiesta Bowl press conference he's going to forego the NFL draft and return to the team for the 2024 season. Also, Ducks D coordinator Tosh Lupoy saying that defensive end Jordan Birch and Jaleel Florence are game-time decisions for Monday's Fiesta Bowl against Liberty. The Honolulu Civil Beat reporting that Oregon and Hawaii in discussions to move the 2024 season opener in Honolulu. It's not yet known, though, if the game's still going to be played next year or sometime in the future. On the Beavers side of things, Oregon State head coach Trent Bray announcing they have hired Keith Hayward as the next defensive coordinator. He returns to his alma mater where he played in the secondary from 97 through 2000. Hayward also previously held coaching positions with the Ducks and Beavers. It's a real must-watch to kick off Week 17 of the NFL. The Browns hosting the Jets for Thursday Night Football. Cleveland, led by Joe Flacco, is a 7.5-point favorite at kickoff, set for 5:15 on Prime Video. And in the association, the Trailblazers back in action tonight, beginning a home back-to-back with the San Antonio Spurs. DeAndre Ayton, Shaedon Sharpe both out for Portland. Ant Simons is questionable. Tip-off set for 7 p.m. on Root Sports. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Schultze from the Spirit Mountain Casino Sports Desk. Get in the game at Spirit Mountain Casino. Watch and wager with our sportsbook powered by BetMGM. Learn more at spiritmountain.com.
Do it every morning. Dirt and Spray. Weekday.
Live by Victor Rico's as always at 5 o'clock, and then we're out of here at 5:30 as the Oregon Ducks take on the USC Trojans from Eugene in a little hoops action, little college hoops action. Bronny James in Eugene tonight.
Hey, you know what? He was here in Portland last year in the LSI.
Mm-hmm.
I was I'm pleasantly surprised. Plus, he's also a really cool story now. I mean,
yeah, totally.
To work your way back from what he went through, I can only imagine what it would be like to step back on the court.
Well, especially because the first time it happens to you, it's like, hey, you're never going to play basketball again.
Right.
And you're kind of like, well, financially I'm okay because my dad is LeBron. But like, bro, I play basketball every day.
Right. Well, and I mean, to almost die.
Yeah.
Literally, like on the court playing the game that you love. I don't know. Like I've come back from, tears. I've come back from broken bones. That's one thing to overcome. Overcoming like, hey, dude, you almost died.
Yeah.
How do you come back from that?
Yeah, so check out that right here, home of the Ducks at 5:30. Plus a reminder that the Fiesta Bowl, Ducks versus Liberty, will be here on 10 of the Fan. We'll have wall-to-wall coverage per usual on New Year's Day, leading right up to kickoff plus postgame. Will you doing postgame for that show?
I will be doing postgame.
All
I believe Jordan too. Yes,
I think yeah. I think I'm coming in to host, and you're on the board and then doing the post game, as far as I know.
Oh, I thought Swag was coming in too.
But it says Will Ortner 8 a.m. New Year's Day on the schedule.
I need to read the
You
schedule.
need to figure that out, amigo.
I need to read the schedule. I'm not gonna lie. I saw the email today. Need to read the schedule closer.
New Year's Day at 8 a.m. That's going to be something you're going to want to know.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Been there, Mr. Ortner. Been
Yep.
there. It's not me this year.
Yeah, so stick around
brother.
for that. But right now, it is December 28th, 2023. It is time for In the News. I am your weekend update anchor here, filling in alongside my boy Will Ortner, who will say you're the traffic control man from the helicopter.
Weatherman. I'm cool with weather.
Weekend weatherman. Right there. Today is National Card Playing Day.
Like any kind of cards?
I think any kind of cards. I think it's a aptly time of the year to do it because, like you said, a lot of people aren't working right now. A lot of family in town. You sit around and cards helps Aunt Bernice and little cousin Jimmy kind of figure things out for a little bit.
Dude, cards are fun. I mean, even if you're by yourself, there's games, solitaire that you can play with cards. Love cards.
Love poker. That's it's like I could go old maid. I guess my grandpa and I played that all the time when I was a kid. Maybe some hearts, but no poker. Texas Hold'em. That's the card game for me, baby.
We're a big Uno household. That's what happens when you got 7, 8, and 11.
You play Spicy Uno?
I don't know what Spicy Uno is.
Each card has like a different thing. Like if someone played like a 4, then you have to be silent. Or then, if you play like a 7.
Like King's Cup almost.
A little bit. There's a little bit of King's Cup in there. And then, like if someone puts a 7, you don't get your hand down, then instantly whoever the last person was, they get the cards. It's a little bit, it's spicy. It's a spicy version of Uno.
Of course, I instantly thought Spicy Uno was drinking.
Well,
That was where my first thought was.
I have only played it drinking, but there's another way that people might think of the spicy, and no, it doesn't go down that way.
It doesn't go down that way.
It's not
Strip Uno.
It's
You don't
not
play
strip Uno. No, if you're playing strip Uno, you got to figure out something with your life.
What does a wild card mean with strip Uno? That's what I want to know. Like,
I don't.
You get to choose.
If there's a party where they're playing strip Uno, I don't think I want to be around there.
Too rich for your blood.
Yeah, it's like in the Friends episode where they play like strip the game of life. Like, I don't think I want any part of that. Just find a hot tub. I don't know.
Today is Denzel Washington's birthday.
Yeah. Dude, shout out.
Yes.
How old is he?
He's probably in his early 60s.
You think 60? Is he that old?
I think so, man. I mean, he's been around for a long time.
He looked young and Remember the Titans, and I was like 13 when that came out,
he looks
He
good
is
no matter what.
69 years old.
Wow, nice.
69
Been around
years old. Wow,
One
he
of the
looks,
best actors of all time.
I would have thought he was like early 50s.
Yeah, you got a favorite Denzel flick?
Remember the Titans is good. Judgment Day. I mean, Denzel. I love his message. He's always tried to play roles that an African American may not stereotypically get, like police roles, like things that he's really always tried to be out there on the forefront of that message. And man, anything that he does, he was the lawyer in Philadelphia for Tom Hanks.
Great flick.
So many good ones.
Right. Sneaky good one, John Q.
John Q was really good.
If you have not seen John Q, go check out John Q. And
Book
then
of Eli as well.
Book of Eli was good.
Deja Vu.
And that had Mila Kunis in it. Book of Eli with Denzel and Mila.
I'm also kind of play the hits. Like, you want to get wet. Like, I love Training Day. He's really good in that.
Mm-hmm.
Glory, if you want to see how terrible things were for people in the Civil War. He's great in that. He's got the ultimate Oscar moment in that, where he's being whipped and he's just standing there taking it, and the camera cuts to his face, and the one teardrop drops down his cheek.
I didn't know that's
you know how when it's like, and Will Ortner for best Oscar in Jubitaba, and they show the clip of you, and it's like you being real passionate or something like that. Denzel's clip where he won the Oscar is just him getting whipped, and the one tear drops down his face. It's pretty wild.
I was gonna say, like, my initial thought was to be like, well, that's awesome, and it's like, that's not awesome, don't say that. But that's really cool that he can act that way. Like, he's talented enough to do that. Also, American Gangster, I can't remember.
Oh yeah.
Great movie.
The guy's really good. Plus, do you know the biggest reason why people find him so likable / attractive?
His aura? I don't know.
He has a completely symmetrical face.
Oh.
So his right side and his left side are exactly the same.
Good for him.
In the sense of like where his eyes are, where his nose is, where his ears are. Because most people are not.
Right.
But he is. So when you see him, it's like smooth.
So he's scientifically hot.
He is science has proven he's a good looking dude.
I wonder what his workout plan is.
I don't think he needs it. He is scientifically sexy.
He is scientifically a badass.
It's and then again, another Office reference when they're trying to figure out if that actress is hot, and you've got
Hilary
Oscar up there.
Swank.
Yeah, they're trying to figure out if Hilary Swank is hot. And they're measuring her face and like, she is not symmetrical, therefore she is not hot. It's still like, that's one of my favorite episodes.
Yep, that's why
Conophilia, or so, I can't remember what Oscar says, but there's a term for it. Yeah.
All right, when we come back, if you were afraid of flying, let's open this up a little bit more. New news from Boeing as In the News continues right here, Primetime, 10 the Fan.
It's time for Who's Leading the Charge? A look under the hood at the coaches, players, and teams getting it done. Brought to you by Battery Exchange.
We talked about mid-range shooters last night. He's a great mid-range shooter with SGA. That one pops up in there right off the front of the rim. SGA is going to get a chance for an old-fashioned three-point play.
SGA, 36 points last night. Thunder beat the Knicks 129-20. OKC currently second place in the Western Conference. Don't look out. This team is good, and this team is fun to watch. Chet Holmgren, Rookie of the Year. Mark it down.
Dude, I'll tell you what. They trusted the process, and it seems like it's hitting as long as everyone can stay healthy.
Stay together, baby.
And stay together.
Hold together, baby. Hold together. Systems checks at 14 area locations. Battery Exchange with an X.com.
Yeah. The home of dirt and spray.
I'm dirt. I'm not going to poo-poo it. I'm not going to throw cold water on it. I'm glad that the NBA bro is happy about this. I'm glad that you're happy.
right, we're here almost in the home stretch as we'll be off at 5:30 today for the Ducks Trojans conference basketball play live from Eugene right here on 1080 The Fan. The 5 o'clock hour, we will get in to Russell Wilson and what the hell's going on with that.
Dangerous.
Let's ride. But we are still here in the news as today is December 28th. There's only one more in the news left before the new year.
Wow, that's news to me. I didn't know that.
Well, at least you know you have to work on January 1st now.
I knew I had to work on January 1st. Look, there's a lot of future will, like tomorrow. I have to work tomorrow night. I don't know where I'm working. I just know I have to work.
That's a problem for future will.
That's future will's issue. I have the text somewhere, and I'll just go back and I'll find it. And I will make sure that I get there. I know when I'm supposed to be there.
In a drunken stupor at midnight tonight?
I won't be drunk.
What do you got going tomorrow? You got the morning show?
Got the morning show, and then I'm helping out at the LSI.
Oh, tomorrow's Les Schwab.
Yeah, this is a Les Schwab week, baby.
Les Schwab.
Yeah.
Les Schwab.
Unfortunately, not with us, though. It's
any good teams at Les Schwab this year?
Boozer's kids are coming.
Oh.
I know that.
Are they from Alaska too?
I have no idea where they're from. I got a gym bro. Shouts out Cam. He's very plugged in, and so he's been kind of giving me the lowdown on the LSI. I liked what it was last year, and so it's like it'll be fun to be out there.
All right, that's great. Well, in some news for you, if travel for the holidays wasn't scary enough, Boeing has asked airlines to inspect all of their 737 MAX jets for a potential loose bolt in the rudder system after an airline discovered a potential problem with a key part of two aircraft.
Rudder is how you steer, correct?
Correct.
That is terrifying.
That is big time
terrifying. That is not a future will problem. That is a current will problem. That is how I determine my problems. That is how Boeing should determine their problems.
Yeah, apparently Boeing announced that it wanted to increase production of the 737 despite ongoing issues.
So basically what you're telling me is they want to get more out so that they make more money, but the quality of what they're creating is going down in the rush to get more out?
That's correct.
Who could have ever seen that happening?
That is the last section of business, though, that you want that happening with airplanes, travel, things that are holding, tubes that are holding 400 plus people 36,000 miles in the sky.
No, it might be a good thing that I didn't go down to California.
Yeah, dude, I'm not getting on a plane anytime soon. Y'all can figure this out.
My wife will be on one in 3 weeks, so screw you both.
Good luck.
I'll be on a plane in March.
And if you thought you were getting out of it by not getting on an airplane, you're wrong. The Portland Bureau of Transportation has reported that this year will cement the largest traffic fatalities in the last 30 years in Portland, Oregon.
For driving?
For driving. It includes, I think it includes like suicides as well, suicides and medical events. So if you're like driving down the road and you have a heart attack and die, like that counts.
So
but
that
I mean, I was doing research.
Jump in front of a car.
Yeah, I was doing research for the show, looking for in the news, and everything I found on websites was like, this person dies here in Portland. This person dies here in Portland. Streets aren't really safe right now, man.
Well, I mean, you're talking suicide or like people actually getting hit by cars?
Yeah, getting hit by cars and hit and runs and just fatalities in normal driving situations.
But it also, I mean, it kind of makes sense a little bit because everyone's going back to work. You know, like this, I feel like this year everyone was fully back in their offices for the most part, right? And I think at times people forgot how to drive in COVID. Like you could just go, right? And I see it all the time in Portland.
I mean, you are not wrong.
Driving in here, it's like once a week I almost get in a wreck. It's ridiculous.
Let me lament too, on top of the whole COVID thing, because that was an everywhere thing. Oregon, you ain't got the best drivers. I'm from here, and I'm sorry, I'm gonna knock mostly everybody that is from Oregon that drive. Maybe 3 out of 4 people from Oregon that drive on our roads. You suck at it. We statistically break more than any state in the country, which causes more wrecks. We break way too often, way too soon. We care more about the person turning out in front of us, to give them a way to go that's coming out of a parking lot, as opposed to the 6 people behind you that were already waiting. Drivers are terrible here. We go too slow. We don't ever want to do anything but hit our brake, and that causes a lot of accidents.
Four-way stops are really brutal.
Yeah.
No, you go.
Somebody go!
Or my new favorite one, I'm having this a lot on 4th Plane down in Vancouver. The lights all just are flashing red, so now their stop, it's basically a four-way stop. and no one can figure it out because like, well, I'm trying to turn left, but like, do you go? Do I? Who goes? There's too many cars.
Stuff.
If you are turning left, the other person goes forward first.
Yeah, it's to the right of you, correct?
But I mean, if you're head on,
okay,
and I need to take a left, and they're coming forward, they go forward, and I follow them behind.
Gotcha.
That's the law. The right of way is if two people get to the stop sign, stop light at the same time, the person on the right goes first.
And all that makes sense. I'll be honest though, I don't trust anyone, so I inch out. I just inch out until it's like, it's free.
You just punch it. Well, you can't walk on the streets either, just to round this bad boy out. As Shigella is a highly contagious bacteria that spreads through fecal matter. And my friends, if you've walked around the city of Portland, boy, there's a lot of fecal matter out there. 218 cases reported in 2023 with 45 in December alone. I have to imagine this happens a lot in the houseless, homeless community. And people are in bad case and they can't afford to put them in hospitals.
I had a friend that
Highly contagious.
That texted me asking me if I had this last night.
Why? You got poop problems? You got the mud butt?
I had the runs like on Monday, but I'm good now.
But that was from Taco Bell.
You had the runs
it was
on
from
Christmas
my
Day?
own cooking. No.
Monday
Tuesday.
was Christmas.
Tuesday, my bad.
Okay, thank you. I'm like, God, that is an awful Christmas.
No, Tuesday. Well, no, dude. Being sick is a choice, just like Coach Lanning said, and you just power through. You just stay close to a facility.
Yeah.
Then you just pay attention, like, oh, hey, you know what? I gotta go. Or honestly, like you could come into work and be fine. Like it's not.
Oh no, man! They tell me like if you got any symptoms of nausea, heartburn, indigestion, diarrhea, dude, you gotta stay away.
Isn't that a
Technically, those are
Pepto-Bismol
COVID
commercial?
signs
Yeah,
as well.
that's true. That is the Pepto commercial. That's how I remember
I
it.
was like, wait a minute. Yeah. So.
But they're not gonna pay you though. So that's what's messed up.
There you go.
Otherwise, I got diarrhea every day.
There you go. Well, because like this thing is like way worse than just having the runs. I know that.
No, this is like some highly contagious bacteria.
How do we get rid of it? Like other than just cleaning up the poop?
I'm not sure, man.
And like what
Maybe
happens?
you just gotta poop it out.
How do I know that I have it? And is it like the runs? Is it worse than the runs?
What's worse than the runs, man?
Well, bleeding out of your eyeballs from Ebola sounds pretty bad.
Right, but that's not in the same. But that's not in the same realm of the runs.
No.
Like when things are exiting your lower region, what is worse than the runs?
Oh, lower region. Yes, the runs are the worst. But that being said, would rather take the runs over having a puking issue.
Well, I'd rather lose my left arm than get Ebola.
Well, yes, but like,
but you'd rather have the runs than puke.
Like if you tell me you've got stomach issues, I'm going runs over puke.
Yeah, I think I'm going runs over yak.
No, because if I am in a public place and I do one of those two, people will look at me again after I puke in front of you. But if I get the runs publicly, my life and career is over.
No.
Yes.
No.
People will be talking about you behind your back for the
themselves.
rest of your life.
It's fine. People poop themselves. It happens. We've all done it.
Everybody's done it. Everybody poops.
Literally, everyone has pooped themselves.
Everybody
It's
poops. Yep. I'm about to poop myself right now.
Okay.
Pooping your pants is cool. You can call me Miles Davis.
Glad I'm in this studio.
There you go. Look, man, I'm not saying like poop your pants on purpose, but if you poop your pants, like it happens.
Yeah.
We'll all be okay.
Yeah, like a shark, something like that.
Yeah,
you know? Like that.
sometimes you take a
gambling
risk.
and losing is different than like full on runs down your leg.
Yeah,
That's a
that'd be
little
pretty
different.
That is gross, dude.
All right, when we come back, we'll wrap up the last half hour. We'll have Hot 5 at 5, plus we'll get into Russell Wilson. And boy, is it not a good day for Russell Wilson. That's next. Primetime, 1080 The Fan.
Ring in the new year with the Winterhawks. Join us at Portland's biggest New Year's Eve party, and one lucky fan will even drive away with a 2024 Toyota RAV4. Then be sure to stick around after the game for a post-game
Fan.
All right, welcome into the final half hour here of Primetime. Patrick Harris, Will Ordner sitting in for the boys. Big Sook will be back tomorrow. If you missed any of the first 2 hours, you can snag those at the Service Patriots podcast, your home comfort solution for all your heating and air conditioning needs. Check out the latest special offers for our listeners at servicepatriots.com/thefan. The text line, as always, Vancouver Ford text line 503-864-6326. They'll treat you right before, during, and after the sale. Visit vancouverford.com. Well, Will, I'm now worried about you officially.
What?
Well, I'm worried about 8 a.m. on New Year's Day.
Oh, I'll be fine. I'll get.
Yeah.
Look. When I need to keep it in the rails, I keep it in the rails. I'm still a little bit confused on what I'm doing at 8 a.m., but I'll be here and I will figure that out.
I think you're running the game, my friend.
The game starts at 10, though.
Yeah, but you still have to be here. Somebody has to be here to hit the liners for the pregame show.
That's right, because the pregame show,
it's 2 hours.
You're right.
Yeah, so we're running the
Dude, just set a timer, repeat timer for 12 minutes, dude.
No, I do what I do with the morning show. Every 5 minutes, there is an alarm from an hour before until an hour after I am supposed to be where I'm supposed to be.
I feel bad for you, Will, but I don't.
No, you don't at all.
No, because in my
no one feels bad for me.
in my news days, I woke up and had to be at a radio station at 5 a.m. on New Year's Day, and going out the door while people are still coming home from their parties, that is a crappy feeling. Let me tell you.
I'm just going to come here from my party.
Good luck, boys. I will be sleeping in. But before and coming up next, we'll get into Russell Wilson and what the situation is going on in Denver, as it seems to be a little messy, and how will this all pan out. But first, the Hot 5 at 5.
Oh! Hot topics, hot opinions.
Oh, golly, I'm hot today.
And hot air. It's time for the Hot 5 at 5.
That's hot.
The Hot 5 at 5 on Primetime with Isaac and Sue.
No, I mean it. That's very hot.
The Hot 5 at 5 with Isaac and Sue. Brought to you on The Fan by Victor Rico's Mexican Food, the most popular burrito spot in Oregon. Online at victorricos.com. Number 5.
All right, number 5 leaves us at bowl games today. 2 have gone final. 1 is in the third quarter. Rutgers beat your Mario Cristobal 31-24. Sounds like some shoddy play calling down the stretch by Mario Cristobal, but stop me if you've heard that before.
Shocker. He's a great recruiter, but he coaches like an O-lineman, and in this day and age, you need to coach like a quarterback, not an O-lineman.
Boston College takes out 24th-ranked SMU 23-14. I did not watch a second of that game.
That was the team that Oregon almost played in the Liberty Bowl,
Nice.
and a lot of people thought they should have played. So maybe it's a good thing they didn't.
Maybe it's a good thing they didn't. Currently, right now, Kansas State up on NC State 21-10. 13 minutes left in the third quarter on that one. And then tonight, Arizona and Oklahoma.
That's a game that I'm actually going to pay attention to.
Yeah.
Other than Dylan Gabriel, I think Oklahoma's got a decent amount of their guys still in. And Arizona, really young, they've got most of their guys in. That should be a decent bowl game.
And I'd like to see FIFTA.
I would like to see FIFTA as well.
I want to see FIFTA.
I'd like to see FIFTA points.
Ooh, I like that.
From Arizona.
Yeah, there you go. All right, number 4 takes us to the worst team in professional sports right now. That would be the Detroit Pistons, rattling off their 27th consecutive loss. I find this interesting. You've had top picks in the last couple drafts. You signed Monty Williams to be the largest paid head coach in basketball, and you're terrible.
Catch the fever. And the part about it, like Cade Cunningham, your big name, he's played decent.
Yeah, he's okay.
He's not terrible. Like you and Ivy has been okay at times. Killian Hayes has been okay at times. But no one puts it together. They're the most bet money line right now for tonight's game.
They took over the Blazers.
They're plus like 1,000
to win.
Yeah, so
who they got tonight? Does anybody know who they got tonight?
Celtics, I believe.
Oh, they got the Celtics. That's over on NBA TV.
No chance.
Well, I think Brown and Tatum might be questionable with an illness.
I still might take that Celtics team to beat that Pistons team. But hey, good on you, Blazers. Like, you don't have to worry about it.
I am not betting it. I think everyone should be made aware that Will is not gambling on that one.
Number 3 does take us to Major League Baseball real quickly. Dominican authorities are looking for Wander Franco. They went into his houses plural, houses. Yesterday, could not find him. He was supposed to appear in court today and did not show. Over under, this man is not in the country of the Dominican Republic.
I think there's a chance, like, in like 4 or 5 years, they're like, we finally got him. We found it. It's the, like, Whitey Bulger.
Yeah.
Like, he's been on the lam for years, and finally you get him. This story just gets crazier and crazier and crazier.
It's really wild, too. I got a buddy who's a Tampa Rays fan, and he said that all really Dominican wants is they just want to extort you. So it's like, you're not going to go to jail. They just want you to give them a bunch of money. And the fact that he's doubled down on this and disappearing, I mean, it breaks my heart because I love Wander Franco, and I'm really sad to not get to watch him play baseball anymore. However, don't be a creep.
Don't be a horrible person. Yeah,
don't be a horrible person.
Don't commit a crime.
Number two.
Oof. Ugh. This stuff's so gross. Number two leads us to Thursday Night Football on Prime Video tonight. Kickoff in about 10 minutes. Got the Jets at the Browns. That get your pants tight.
No, but it's a Joe Flacco revenge game.
Ooh, that's right.
You could get some revenge on the Jets, and, this game I am gambling on. If they cover, that's good for Big Will bets. We all love these things.
What's the spread? Cleveland.
I got them at 7.
You got them at 7? Okay.
Cleveland minus 7.
Yeah. Who's playing quarterback tonight for the Jets?
That's a good
Simeon.
question. Finally.
Trevor Simeon. Well, Wilson, I think he's in concussion protocol.
And does DTR back up Flacco?
DTR.
In case Flacco dies?
DTR, PJ Walker, yeah.
So will you have that on the main feed and then Arizona on the other feed? Is that getting your number one?
I think Arizona gets my number one. I'm back in the apartment. The 70-inch TV gets used again. We ride. Can't wait.
Let's ride.
I might even throw hockey.
Wow.
We'll do a quad box.
Wow. Getting wild over.
It's time for who?
All right.
Number one.
And number one on this Hot 5 at 5, speaking of Let's Ride, leads us to Russell Dange Wilson being benched for the final 2 games of the season for the Denver Broncos. In place will be Jared Stidham. A lot of smoke around this fire. I think a lot of it is probably real. It's no secret that Sean Payton is not super down with old Russ Wilson.
Not a fan. Like, from day one, he came in there and he wasn't a fan. And the thing that I worry about with this benching, maybe not worry might be the wrong thing, but I think there's a halfway decent chance that this is the end of Russ. Like, we might not see him come in as a starter again. He is older than you realize. He's in his late 30s. He can't throw across the middle because of his height. He can't see over offensive linemen. And he is proven to be a locker room cancer. Not because he's a cancer, but because he wants to be so detached from everyone else. I think it's a hard sell to bring him in as a guy who's going to be a backup.
I think it's also interesting, like so they rattled off some wins, right?
Yep.
They kind of got some movement going, some juice flowing. And the last 2 games they've lost because of him.
Oh,
like throwing picks in the end zone, making turnovers at the end of the play, not extending when they could. So everything seemed all peachy. It was kind of like, look out, here comes Denver. This one's interesting because they don't need to know what they've got in Jared Stidham. I think we all know what we've got in Jared Stidham. But this is a direct fire at Russell Wilson.
This is 100% you are going to be cut. Well, because there are all these reports that they had talked to Russ back in November, I believe, early December maybe, of, hey, you need to switch this clause in his contract, because he has a clause, if he gets hurt and he does not pass a physical March 15th, I believe, he gets $37 million.
Yeah.
So they are doing the exact same thing that the Raiders did last year to Derek Carr, where they went, we're out of it. We don't care. You're getting benched. And you are going to pass that physical no matter what, because then we can save some of the money. They're going to eat a ton of money.
Yeah, they're going to eat a ton.
But they are going to cut him. He is going to be gone.
The Hot 5 at 5 brought to you by Victor Rico's Mexican Food. Order Victor Rico's Mexican Food for your game day celebration at victorricos.com. I'd like to stick with this Russell Wilson situation when we come back. And kind of, Will, you pointed on it. Where does he land if he got cut? But the real question is let's back up the gravy train here and let's just kind of figure out where this all went wrong, because the fall of grace for Russell Wilson might be bigger than any QB I've seen in a long time. And
one that wasn't criminal.
Yeah, and maybe the Broncos are doing a little bit of dirty here. So we'll get into all of that next. This is Primetime, Portland Sports Leader, 1080 The Fan.
It's time for Who's Leading the Charge. A look under the hood at the coaches, players, and teams getting it done. Brought to you by Battery Exchange.
Both punters in this game are. Joyce
Does not get it off. Blocked. Touchdown, Rutgers. That'll turn the tides. Timmy Ward falls on it in the end zone. Right on top of home plate.
Rutgers takes down Miami 31-24 in the Bad Boy Mowers Pinstripe Bowl, pushing the Hurricanes to 7-6. Mario Cristobal struggled in this down the stretch again, and it's one of those things. I don't care how much money Miami has; it might not be enough to fix it.
He is a great recruiter, but he calls games like an O-lineman, and that's not to lose. And if you're going to be an offensive coordinator, you need to call games to win.
System checks at 14 area locations. Battery Exchange with an X.com.
It's the Vancouver Ford text line.
Plenty of time.
First tip at 6 o'clock, right here, home of the Ducks. Bronny James down at Autzen. So get your popcorn ready.
It's going to be fantastic.
You ever been to Matthew Knight Arena?
I have not. I've never been to an Oregon sporting event, a University of Oregon sporting. Well, yeah, no. I went to Olympic trials once.
Autzen's cool.
That's what I hear.
Cool place.
Everyone talks about how loud it is. I've heard it never rains there, which is pretty impressive because it's not a dome.
What is with this that it never rains there? I for sure have seen it rain there. I don't get the joke.
All I know is that on the calls, they always talk about how it never rains in Autzen. I'm assuming that's like you want to be in Autzen because it's great and everybody loves it. And it looks great. But apparently it doesn't rain there, so I won't have to bring a coat ever.
Yeah, and Matthew Knight Arena is like a mini Rose Garden. I mean, like, it's huge.
That's what I've heard.
It's big. It's legit. I went to Wazoo, and Beasley Coliseum is a dump. It's like 50 years old.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, Matthew Knight's great.
I've, again, never been to Matthew Knight, but I'll tell you what, the court is interesting.
To say the least.
It is.
To say the least.
It is an interesting little design. I'm glad that you can finally see the half court line and the 3-point lines. So
I like the concept, but it's difficult to watch on TV. In person's not so bad. You don't notice it in person.
Oh, okay. Well, because like UP, they have a really cool floor now. They just redid it, and it's got some of the bridges from Portland.
Cool.
Super cool. Also don't have any issues finding half court or the 3-point line
or the free throw line or the key.
It gets an A+ from me.
We've been talking about Russell Wilson and kind of saving this for the end here. I like this point. The Vancouver Ford text line, 503-864-6326. Has there ever been a bigger non-banned substance-related fall from grace? Wilson had a Super Bowl win. He was probably headed to Canton. And now we're here. I can't think of somebody that played as well as they did. Because there are guys that like win a Super Bowl and you're like, that guy's good, but you're not instantly like, well, there's a Super Bowl title. We'll see in Canton in 10, 15 years, whatever it is. Like a Joe Flacco, for example.
Right.
But there was definitely, there were times, I'm not a Seahawk fan, but there were times where I talked to friends where I was like, Russell Wilson's the best quarterback in the NFL.
There were
a couple of years there where I thought he was the best.
There were complaints, and there was a lot of voices saying that he deserved MVP votes. Now I do think with Russ, it was much more eye test passing, right? Like when you go and you look at his stats aren't eye popping, and you go season by season. He has years where he has pretty good years, but he never led the NFL in passing. He never led the NFL in touchdowns, to my knowledge.
No.
He had good years. He had good years, and then when you watched him, when you needed it most, he always seemed to perform when the lights were brightest, except for that one Super Bowl.
Yep, the Niners game, Packers game.
Always seemed to show up in the big time moments. But I genuinely cannot think of a bigger fall from grace from someone that didn't either get really into like politics or have drug issues or criminal issues or, what have you, where it is strictly play on the field and then stories from old teammates on why he is where he is now. It seems like everyone in Seattle hated him. You hear the stories from Sherman, from Doug Baldwin, from Marshawn Lynch. Marshawn Lynch said he couldn't get the guy's number. I've played on a lot of football teams.
You got everybody's.
You have them, or if you need them, it's super easy to go get. You just got to walk up to the dude and ask. He goes up and asks for the dude's phone number, and he gives him a blocked number so that he can never call him. He had a GD office. You have to be in the locker room. Even if you are the star, most of the guys are going to give you your space. He had an open door policy in his office so the guys could come visit him whenever they wanted. How insane is that? As dumb as it is, and I'm going to say it, when you're on a football team, you cannot trust another dude until you're doing dumb stuff in the locker room in your underwear.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes it's teammates wrestling. Sometimes it's teammates fighting. Sometimes you finally let that one dude who has really weird EDM music choices, you finally let him have the aux cord and then you let him dance. You need those moments. But you really need those moments where you're complaining about your coaches. Because those things happen.
Yeah.
In any kind of job. You complain about your boss, except for our boss. He's wonderful.
You're wonderful. Love you, Jeff.
You complain about your boss in the office. You complain about your teacher at school. You complain about...
It's just kind of how it goes. Your parents, your whatever.
You need to have that ability to complain about someone with another player. And when your quarterback, the guy's supposed to be the voice of your team, almost has put himself in a spot where he is a coach, you can't complain to him. You cannot trust him.
Yeah, and you're totally right. And I think there was a lot of conversation when Russ was moved from Seattle to Denver. I think a lot of it was because of culture reasons. But I'm curious if they also saw the writing on the wall, like in terms of production. Like when that team was built on defense and running the football, like those wide receivers he was winning a Super Bowl with were not all-star wide receivers. They were good.
Right.
Like Doug Baldwin's a great route runner in good hands, but he's not DK Metcalf, to use a current player.
No, I'd make the argument maybe the second best wide receiver that he played with in Tyler Lockett, he didn't get him the entire time. Tyler Lockett came on late, right?
Yeah.
So when they were doing their best, they were running the football and they were using him to attack deep because he throws one of the prettiest deep balls.
He does. It just floats.
But what you saw his last year in Seattle, he broke his finger. And it's a nasty break. And when you break your finger or your hand, it changes how you hold the football. It changes how you throw the football because you will never be able to move your hand or your finger the same way. You're never going to have the same flexibility and you're never going to have the same strength. And you're seeing that drop off. Oh, by the way, he's in his mid to late 30s.
Yeah.
So when you made that trade 2 years ago, so he would have been what, 34?
Yeah.
33?
making $40 million a year.
And he's a short quarterback, so his abilities, they're going to start going away because he's short and can't see over his offensive line. He really can't use the middle of the field. It's why Seattle never used the middle of the field for so long when he was in that offense. You see it in Denver. He can't throw over the middle of the field because he can't see guys.
Yeah, and I think it's also strange, too, because, like, the things I know from Russell Wilson in watching him play so much just don't exist anymore. The rah-rah on the sidelines, like the guy at the front and center,
because it's corny.
Yeah, like it's run so tired that nobody wants anything to do with it. You were saying earlier, you don't think he starts again, like as a starter, like somebody might get hurt. He's not out of the league.
I don't know.
You think that his antics in the locker room and what happened from Seattle to now in Denver are enough for every team to just say not worth it? That I'm going to tread out there Trevor Siemian or Jared Stidham?
Well, let me compare him to Cam Newton. Cam Newton is still a good enough quarterback to be a backup in this league.
This is correct.
The issue with Cam Newton is there's such a big story there. You don't want your backup quarterback taking press conferences.
It's like the Tebow thing. Everybody was afraid of Tebow.
With Russ, you'd have your guy taking press conferences. Oh, by the way, most of the backup quarterbacks, they're big locker room guys. Half the reason they're in the locker room is because the boys love them.
Yeah, I hear Chase Daniel do interviews from time to time, and people love him.
People don't love Russ.
Yeah.
And it's so crazy because 8 years ago, they loved him. Everyone bought into the rah-rah. Everyone bought into, hey, I'm talking pro, make sure you run pass calls. We're going to clap after every single play. That stuff worked until it didn't. And when you have a lot of respected players around the NFL and former players that are just coming out and lambasting this dude, it's why you're seeing him fail. And I talked about this before in the past. His best friend, Russell's best friend, was also his life coach.
Right.
And I think if you have a
nano bubbles and stuff like that.
If you have a life coach, you don't have a great ego around you, and you can be very impressionable.
Yeah.
This life coach, he passed away right around the same time where Russ started to struggle. And so for me, what I wonder is when you have this person, and his whole thing, and I wish I had his name. He teaches about a neutral mindset. I have his whole book.
Okay.
I didn't read it. I'll read it one day. Not that impressionable. When it comes to the neutral mindset, it's you take the good with the bad and you let it all go. You let go of the interceptions. You let go of the touchdowns. Everything is zen. For Russ now, when you lose this voice, and now you're getting all the yes men from Team 3 and from your quarterback coach, and then you got it from an organization where they gave you the keys to everything. How does that not inflate your ego? And then when it doesn't work and it all comes crashing down, especially after you just said, hey, it's the Seahawks. The Seahawks are the reason I didn't win an MVP. The Seahawks are the reason that I'm not thought of as the best quarterback right now. And you go out on your own and you think the grass is greener and you fail. And you don't just barely fail. You fail on epic proportions. And then your new boss, your new coach that comes in, hates you from day one and is vocal about hating you from day one. Yeah. How does that not kill any confidence you have?
Yeah, the Sean Payton thing is fascinating because you'd have to think like him being on the sidelines in New Orleans, being in the booth for a year. You know, he had his pick at whatever job he wanted, and he chose Denver. And you have to think part of that choice in Denver was strapping your boots to Russell Wilson. You were like, you know what? I bet you I can get 3-4 years out of this guy. He's a smart guy. Peyton's a smart guy. He thinks Russ is a smart guy. I can do this. I wonder what goes through Sean Payton's head right now. Like, what the hell did I get into? Now I have no quarterback. Now I have no draft capital. And my cap hit is massive because of this idiot.
Mm-hmm. I think some of it. Oh, and it's Trevor Moawad. That's his old life coach. He died back in 2021. It takes what it takes. Neutral mindset. That's the book. And, and I will eventually read it one day. I think with Sean Payton, I think he knew because the minute he got in, he was lambasting Russ and he was going after Hackett. I think he knew. I think he was given guarantees from the organization. You need to give Russ a shot. And if he doesn't fit in your system,
we'll tear him down.
We'll tear it down because they gave Sean Payton complete control.
Yeah.
This ownership group that is in Denver. They want to make sure that Sean Payton has full control and that he can create a winner that he sees fit. And so I think he came in with certain assurances of, if Russ is not the greatest thing and does not turn back to what he was, you can get rid of him. He's had a good year this year, but he hasn't had a great year, and it's been built a lot on checkdowns.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing what good play calling can hide, and then when things fall apart, they absolutely fall apart. So RIP Russell Wilson. We'll see how this all plays off and see what Denver can recoup as far as cap-wise go. And if Wilson can land a job somewhere else, because rumors are all reporting that he will be left on the streets for good. That'll do it for us tonight. Browns up 7-0 on the Jets if you want to catch some Thursday night football. Gentlemen, it was nice being with you. Will, you have a great new year. I'll see you on the other end.
Yeah, thank you.
And Schultze, I'll see you tomorrow as we do Primetime. Yeah. Big Sook in the house. All right, that'll do it for us. For Will Orton or Jordan Schultz, I'm Patrick Harris. Go do something I would do.
Johnny singing goldies, goldies, Babalula, baby, what I say.
Red ships of Spain, red ships of Spain.
Colder weather is here.